pre-existing relationship with the guy. Couldn't prosecute it. The other showered. No physical proof. Couldn't prove it. So these are the same issues. But the military is trying to do this.
What about the other question of women as perpetrators of violence? Because again, we go back to what's wrong with
I think it's very valid. I think that anytime in my career I heard discussions of where women should be placed, there were two primary arguments. One is wars against their nature, and the other is that women lack some kind of physical prowess. Yeah, and I would like to introduce them to Private Rasmussen, who I went to basic training with. She's the biggest woman I've ever seen up close. Babe Didrikson had nothing on her. She was a scary woman.
Well, the strongest person in the United States, like the biggest weightlifter or whatever, is a woman.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
The Department of Defense, on numerous occasions in the past 15 years, has actually experimented with the idea of having physical tests or skill tests and assigning people that way instead of by gender. Because I had some of the tiniest little guys trying to run tanks and do these. Yeah, I'm like, he can't lift that either. You know, we would routinely have these 55-gallon barrels and stuff, and I had armored vehicles for a while, and I would have liked for them to actually do that skill test, because there are women that could do that. And well, maybe a higher percentage of men, sure, but there are men who cannot do that either. But the whole violence thing, I don't know. I mean, I can't believe that women are any less capable of violence. That Abu Ghraib should be clear. I know it's sadistic, but that is a type of violence, and the half of that chain of command is female.
Yeah. The generals.
Yes, that's what I was thinking
It's
about.
like ignorance. Thinking that women are not just as physically capable, mentally capable of violence.
But yeah, I mean, anybody who pushed. I mean, there's a. I don't want to be essentialist about it, but
That's right.
but if you're in the military, you're trained to violence also.
Yeah,
You know,
actually,
if men have to be trained, women have to be trained.
There's a great study called On Combat, which a West Point professor and former ranger, special forces, blah, 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 infantryman, did all these studies on how we train people to overcome any of their softer impulses to not kill. And women certainly can go through that same
Trainable.
Trainable. Yeah. Yeah, it's not gender biased. You know, that's another one of the arguments, is that women, against women in the military or women in combat action, is, you know, primarily that men would want to protect them more. Oh gosh, that women couldn't actually kill people. But I don't know that any of those things would bear much testing. Women are certainly capable of violence. And in fact, I think that all of the women in the military police and engineer corps and a variety of support elements. It's one of the primary reasons that a new award came out during the Iraqi-Afghanistan conflict, and that's the Combat Action Badge. Used to, all you could get would be an infantryman could get an infantryman's badge for engaging in conflict, direct combat. But now they have one that is not specific to a particular job, and plenty of women have them. I've met plenty. You know. And I think that there is a type of violence that we haven't addressed here, and that is the military women as victims of violence. Because war is violence. Let's be honest. It's controlled use of force, and it is kind of shocking to. At West Point, we often would bring back former cadets, because that's where I taught there. That's how I got into teaching before I left the military. And we would bring back West Point cadets who were captains or lieutenants who'd been injured in Iraq and try to rehab them to see if they could stay in the military. But it's kind of, it is an odd the first time you see a woman in dress uniform with her skirt and she has prosthetic limbs or no hands.
Do you know the statistics? I know that PTSD is a huge problem with our
think I read that they're higher for women.
I think I read that too, just
Yeah.
recently too.
Yeah. But, you know, I just trust all statistics.
Do you want to comment on this? You recently got out of the military?
They implemented the position was given to an officer of not necessarily the commanding unit, but within the unit, a certain platoon or company, a victim's advocate.
Oh, nice.
And I'm not sure how new it was because PFC first, not paying attention to Lincoln to start, but then saw posters and they really emphasized the victim's advocate. It was usually given to a first lieutenant or second.
That's new. That's pretty new.
Had a female student a while back who had just returned from Iraq, and she said she had PTSD, and when she was trying to somehow prove that she had PTSD, the medical person at the VA said, "You can't have PTSD because when you go to combat." And she said, "The hell I didn't."
Yeah, I find it hard to, I find that difficult to believe that she just needs to reapply.
Yeah.
Because
And she's continuing.
yeah, but PTSD is not a military-only kind of thing. PTSD comes from other traumas.
It's not peak combat. It's not
Well, she was saying
post-combat.
it was from a particular incident that happened. And she did see combat.
The other thing
Maybe
about
on
And
the
there's
front
very,
lines,
yeah,
but
there's very little difference.
Right, exactly.
I think that PTSD presents itself differently in men and women. From what I've understood, I have a number of friends who have PTSD. I even had a partner who had PTSD. And the only thing, as I said, I distrust all statistics. You can manipulate numbers to prove just about anything. And it all depends on your group as well. Control groups and how you're defining it. But I do believe that women would be more likely to seek care for PTSD than a man in such a macho culture. It is macho, let's be honest. Yeah.
That can explain.
That would certainly explain statistics.